changes.
Hello everybody, this is Dinosaur D123 here today with another video, and today we are going over my Legion Mechanics Guide. In this video we'll be discussing anything and everything Legion related. We'll be covering things such as in-game mechanics, tips and tricks, play styles, damage specifics, kit choices, and more. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting out, we'll be going over damage numbers so that we have a better understanding of what Legion is capable of. For starters, Legion's primary ammunition does 100 damage per bullet and 150 damage per critical hit. This is true for both short range and long range mode. However, long range mode uses 2 bullets for every shot fired, leaving you with only half of the ammunition available to use per clip when on long range mode. This means that you have less damage potential per clip, but in return allows you to land critical hits more frequently and increase damage output at longer ranges. Next up, let's get into Legion's power shot mechanics. For starters, Legion's short range and long range power shots do 2,000 damage or 3,000 damage with critical hits. To put this into perspective, 2,500 damage is 1 bar of a Titan's health, meaning that 1 power shot is slightly more or slightly less than a bar of a Titan's health. However, Legion's long-range power shot can also do 1800 splash damage and can do 3800 damage if you hit a Titan's foot by applying both base and splash damage to it. Long-range power shots are also explosive on impact, allowing you to hit multiple targets with 1 power shot if they are close together. In comparison to Northstar's railgun, Legion's railgun on long-range mode does slightly less damage and moves slightly slower in comparison. However, Legion's railgun is better in my opinion than Northstar's because it has a silencer, meaning that you do not show up on radar when it is fired. Moving on to short range mode, short range power shots act like a shotgun. It fires off 16 hit scan bullets that apply full damage if at least one of the bullets hit a Titan, and can also hit multiple Titans at once for full damage. But when hitting pilots, it requires multiple bullets to kill them. Firing a power shot uses only 1 bullet from your clip, and short-range power shots ping you on radar when fired, unlike long-range mode. Moving on to Legion's core ability, the Smart Core, or as we should be saying, the Dumb Core, because it disables the enemy's critical hit zone while activated, does roughly 16,000 damage in 12 seconds when fighting a single target. But because the Smart Core removes critical hits as a possibility, your potential damage per second is significantly lower against enemy Titans when using Smart Core compared to normal ammo. Comparing Smart Core to normal ammo, a long-range clip does 7,500 damage in 4 seconds if only critical hits are landed, in comparison to normal hits or Smart Core, which does only 5,000 damage in 4 seconds. One very helpful trick for Smart Core, however, is that it drains enemy Vortex and Flame Shields significantly faster, allowing you to counter Ion and Scorch effectively with your core. Now that we've covered that, let's go ahead and move on to Legion's defense mechanics. The Gun Shield is a mobile shield attached to Legion's gun that blocks most of his body and its critical hit zone. However, it usually leaves one of your feet and one shoulder exposed and doesn't block oncoming attacks that are point blank, making it oftentimes not the best defense ability. To counter this, crouching with the gun shield and aiming more directly at your opponent can help to limit how exposed your Titan is to the enemy using your shield. Another important detail is that you cannot sprint or melee when using the gun shield, so avoid using your defense when fighting other Doom Titans or Ronin's Sword Core so that you have more mobility or a way to terminate and melee box enemy Titans if needed. Your gun shield is also very helpful for blocking enemy power shots from Legion's, Scorch's Thermite Launcher, and most of Tone's Salvo Core, as it will negate most or all damage from those attacks. Next, we're talking about how Legion acts in response to Tone and Ion's defenses. Against Tone, as shown in my Monarch Mechanics Guide, aiming at an enemy Titan behind a particle wall greatly increases the rate at which Tone's particle wall is destroyed. An ant particle wall goes down in roughly 30 bullets if an enemy Titan is behind it and you're aiming at them, whereas if an enemy Titan is not behind the wall, withstands 110 to 140 bullets. This is because hit-scan ammunition, for what appears to be a bugged mechanic, does ridiculously more damage to Tone's particle wall than intended when aimed at an enemy Titan. This is absurd and will hopefully be changed very soon, and this also applies to all hit-scan pilot weapons and Monarch. For Ion and her Vortex Shield, which many will argue is Legion's hardest matchup, there are a few ways to combat her. First off, let me explain a little bit about the Vortex Shield. As it turns out, Ion's Vortex only blocks a frontal cone around her. This covers her critical hit zone and her feet. However, any attack that hits her from a 30-degree angle, such as a power shot or an arc wave, will not be blocked by Vortex, or if you are shooting her from behind. This small detail, along with the fact that Vortex has activation latency, meaning that after you start using your Vortex Shield, there is a small delay before it actually begins to work, allows Legion to outplay and outsmart Ion and her shield to effectively do damage and beat her. This 30-degree shot is quite easy to pull off and maneuver when used in unison with a side dash as you charge your short-range power shot while aiming towards Ion's elbow that is exposed. This tactic is more risky in comparison to other ways of fighting Ion, but when done correctly and practiced is much more effective in my opinion. Alternatively, you can stay on long range mode and try to hit Ion with long range power shots directly or with splash damage when her Vortex Shield is down for a brief time, which is not easy nor is it consistent against good players. The last main option for dealing with Ion is to catch her off guard with double power shots or farm core off an enemy Titan and save smart core for an Ion who is either pushing you or is caught out of position to disable her shields and destroy her. A tip that I highly recommend for Legion players, which will drastically improve your gameplay and your ability to beat other Titans such as Ion, is to play on higher sensitivity. On console, running the highest sensitivity allows you to charge power shots and completely turn around your Titan before it is fired after starting your charge, allowing you to catch enemy Titans off guard and damage them more often without them blocking your attacks. In comparison to lower sensitivity, after charging your power shot, you can only turn a slight amount, meaning you'll already be looking at the target that you intend to power shot, which will make you very predictable and less likely to succeed in landing your shots. In short, power shot flicking is significantly more viable with higher sensitivity than with lower sensitivity, but is not always necessary for your Legion to be successful. But alrighty, now that we've covered Legion's mechanics in detail, let's go over kit choices and recommended builds for Legion. Let's briefly go over Tier 1 kits. So first off, you have Assault Chip, Auto Eject, Turbo Engine, Overcore, Nuclear Eject, and Counter Ready. I would, however, strongly advise against the use of any Tier 1 kits that are not Turbo Engine or Overcore, as you should always try to benefit from your Titan while you have it. Don't use it as an Auto Titan, and I always steer people clear of Nuke Eject. Now on to Tier 2 kits. First off, we have Enhanced Ammo Capacity, which extends your short range clip by 40 bullets, or your long range clip by 20. Next on the list we have Sensor Array, which increases the duration of your smart core from 12 seconds to 18 seconds. Bulwark, which doubles the amount of damage that your gun shield can block, but does not increase shield duration. Lightweight Alloys, which slightly increases your movement speed while your Predator Cannon is spun up. And lastly, we have Hidden Compartment, which allows you to store 2 power shots at once. So if I were to rank Legion's Tier 2 kits from best to worst, my list would go like this. Starting out, I'd choose Hidden Compartment for flanking and having burst damage output. Next, we would have Enhanced Ammo for holding down lanes, Bulwark for countering salvo cores, Sensor Array for laughs, memes, fun times, and slightly more effective use of your core in the right circumstances. And lastly, I'd choose Lightweight Alloys, which I see no major benefit to whatsoever. When it comes to what builds you should use or should consider using as a Legion, my most recommended build is to run Turbo Engine and Hidden Compartment. This gives you mobility as well as an absurd amount of damage potential and crazy burst damage, allowing him to counter or contest just about any scenario through brute force and good positioning. The second build that I would advise that you try is Overcore Enhanced Ammo Capacity. This build is designed to allow you to effectively hold down lanes single-handedly by firing off tons and tons of ammunition, and oftentimes will allow you to get your smart core before needing to reload. This build relies on good positioning and good teamwork to be effective, seeing how you don't have a dash or as much burst damage as you would with Hidden Compartment, but is very good at suppressing an enemy's push with the amount of uptime you have on your Predator Cannon and the sheer damage output that you can do. The last build that is worth considering is to run Overcore and Sensor Array. This build is played identically to Overcore and enhanced ammo capacity, but your damage uptime comes from your Smart Core rather than your normal ammunition, and can be a ton of fun to play. That covers my recommended kits and builds for Legion, but does not mean that the other kits are worthless or not a good choice. I just simply think those are the two builds that I find most effective. Up next, we'll be covering playstyles and positioning from team gameplay. So for Legion, the majority of skill and playstyle comes from proper positioning. Legion can either make or break a team. He has the potential to easily do multiple Titans worth of damage if properly defended and positioned on the map correctly, or he can be caught out of position by an enemy and get taken out of the game without delay. This can be a major problem in modes such as Last Titan Standing, because you will not only lose Titan advantage, but the enemy team will also earn 1 to 2 cores from killing your Titan, making it even harder for your team to be successful. As a Legion, you should try to position around your team as effectively as possible. You don't have the mobility that other Titans have, so you need to be careful, meaning that you can't reposition around the map without risking being caught in the open. So when you need to move, it is oftentimes smart for you to pair with a friendly Ion or Ronin who can defend you as you walk up a lane with their mobile defenses, so that in turn you can also defend them by doing damage output against enemy pushes. Legion is basically a powerhouse and a slow-moving, never-ending core of damage. However, he needs support from a well-rounded team to succeed in this role the way that he does. As a Legion, your role on a team is oftentimes to hold down a lane either in the main areas of the map with a teammate, or a secondary lane that is less focused on, such as the hallway on Drydock, allowing you to hold off and push enemies by yourself, and at the same time will give you an opportunity to get behind enemy lines if you're not focused on, with your double power shots at the ready to absolutely destroy any unprepared opponents. Legion is a Punisher. If Northstar hovers in the air where Legion can see her, he can kill her before she hits the ground. If an enemy turns a corner where you are waiting with your gun ready when they don't have their defenses available, then they are going to die. If an enemy doesn't watch their back and you get behind them, they are going to die. Legion is designed to capitalize and thrive on the mistakes of his enemies, whether with his shotgun power shots, with his silenced railgun sniper, or his predator cannon minigun. When people are out of position, or when Legion finds an enemy who isn't prepared for him, their life is over and they'll know it. But positioning is key for this to happen. These situations where Legion thrives won't happen unless you are positioned for them properly. Use corners for dash power shots. Use open areas to watch for enemies to punish with your primary weapon and with your sniper rifle. Hold less focused lanes so that flanking is more easily achieved so you can catch enemies off guard. Legion can single-handedly destroy an enemy team when the right positions are held, and if he plays his cards correctly. This is very important. Now moving on from positioning and on to Smart Core. It is not always best to activate your core when fighting an opponent. Because your damage potential is significantly lower when your core is active, it is oftentimes best to wait and activate your core either right before you need to reload, when pilots are harassing you, or when an enemy Titan ejects or you're being pushed by an Ion. This will allow you to counter their defense and also goose pilots out of the air with ease and remove them from the battlefield before they become a threat to you or your team. Legion has amazing pilot control because of Smart Core. Take advantage of this. Legion has most of the tools to be successful. It is up to you as a player to judge where and when to use them so that you can get the most out of what this powerhouse of a Titan has to offer. To wrap up this video, I'll briefly discuss minor tips to help you with various matchups against other Titans that can come in handy. For starters, when fighting an enemy Scorch, always avoid corners of the map. Use your surroundings to your advantage so that Scorch can't catch you off guard and benefit from his flame shield. When fighting Northstars, punish her mistakes when she turns a corner towards you or when she hovers up in the air. Your job in this engagement is to find her out of place and end her with a double power shot to immediately remove her from the opposing team. You as a Legion have the quickest and easiest way of dealing with an unprepared Northstar. Use this to your advantage. When fighting against Ronins, look up in the air with your gun shield when Ronin throws arc waves to keep it from being destroyed, allowing you to then block upcoming shotgun shots and prevent Ronin from getting core so quickly. Always try to keep one power shot in reserve so that you can punish Ronins for getting too aggressive and to intimidate them from advancing so rapidly. A good Ronin will always think twice about actively trying to kill a Legion who has a power shot available, whereas if Legion fires 2 power shots back to back, you have no way of intimidating Ronin or making him think twice about killing you because the risk is no longer there when Legion doesn't have his burst damage available. When fighting against an enemy tone, positioning is everything. Whoever positions less effectively dies first in this matchup. Advance on him when destroying his shield, or wait patiently for him to lose track of you so that you can land your power shots when he least expects. Avoid shooting your power shots into his particle wall because it doesn't do adequate damage to his shield, and save your power shots for after his shield has been destroyed or times out to maximize damage output. When fighting against another Legion player, try to stay on short range mode if you can do so effectively, and wait to power shot until after your opponent's gun shield is used so that he can't block your power shots. This will give you a big advantage because every power shot that they fire into your shield is a bar less of damage that they're going to do to you in return, and then you're going to get the full damage output from your power shots. Lastly, when fighting Monarch, try to hold your ground, punish mistakes, get health advantage, and force Monarch to come to you. Monarch doesn't have any clear answers to dealing with Legion, whereas Legion can outplay Monarch in just about every situation. But already, that covers anything and everything Legion related for this Legion Mechanics Guide. If you enjoyed this video or found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave your opinions in the comment section, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.